Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. We're just going to give folks another 30 seconds or so to trickle in. I see we have a lot of folks already joining, so just give us a few more seconds. All right, let's kick things off. This is Shafkat speaking. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Welcome, and we're super excited to have you all join. It's a big day for us. We are rebranding our company and our product from NewsCred to Welcome. It's a little bit bittersweet for me, having been at this for over a decade now, but I couldn't be more excited about the program that we have today. And so we're gonna give you a quick overview of the participants and the panelists, and also the agenda. So starting off, this is me speaking, Shafkat. Kristen Fallon is the Global Director of Brand and Digital Marketing at GE Healthcare. When we get to her section, I'll ask her to do a quick intro, but she's one of the best, so we couldn't be luckier to have her. And then Lauren, who heads product growth for us at Welcome, has been at the company for a long time, will be walking everyone through a quick sneak peek and a live look at the product itself. And so that's the agenda. So I'll kick things off with a little bit of context around our product vision, our company vision. Then we'll do a quick Q&A with Kristen. It's the customer spotlight #2, and then Lauren will do the sneak peek. And then we'll do some live Q&A at the end. So feel free to put in questions into the chat at any point, and we'll capture those, and certainly you can put questions into the chat at the end as well. So let's go to the next slide. So a few things, as I mentioned, today's the official day that we're launching kind of our new product. It's a culmination of many years of R&D innovation, of listening to customers and pushing the market forward. And our mission is to unlock the potential of marketing. It's something I've personally dedicated most of my adult life to, and we believe that marketing orchestration is really the future of modern marketing. And before we explain our vision and show you the product, we're going to do some quick polls. And the first one is just around this idea of marketing orchestration. Like, what does it mean? How do you think about it? And obviously, we'll give you our definition in a little bit. And all you need to do if you want to participate, which we would love for you to do, is go to menti.com, menti.com. It's right there. The instructions are at the top on your web browser or your phone, and just type in that number, which is 7676219. We're going to use this for a couple more polls as well. And so, I'd encourage you, you just have to do this once. And just type in kind of, what do you think of when you hear the words marketing orchestration? And you can see some of the results coming in live. I'm also going to enter mine. So I'll just, what I'm seeing here is largely what I was expecting. So I'm glad that, we're aligned with all of you in the market. So words like cohesion, collaboration, well-oiled machine, harmony, unified teams. And that really is kind of what we are excited by. And we believe we can really transform how these marketing teams work better together. And so if we go to the next slide, we'll walk you through kind of what we've heard from all of you. So we got a live look there, but we also did some research. We polled about 500 marketers. We did this direct primary research ourselves with Cirkin Research, and we heard three things. So number one is marketers spend way too much time doing work about work. And this is something that I've kind of personally witnessed, that marketers, I believe, are put on this earth to be like creative, to do wonderful things, to message, to design, to draw, to come up with great programs. Yet we spend time in meetings, updating spreadsheets, PowerPoint hell, in emails, and we're not spending more than 25% on the actual marketing. We also heard that it takes way too long to launch a campaign, and it's hard to measure impact. And then the bottom stat is super interesting. 3/4 of marketers said they use more than 5 tools in order to like plan and manage marketing, but almost all of them said they'd rather just have one. And so that's something that we heard loud and clear from the market. And for us, when we boil down, like, what's the reason for these challenges? We can almost tie all of the challenges to silos. And there's a number of different types of silos that we have observed. I know people use the word silos very generically to describe marketing. Oh, we work in silos, but what does it actually mean? So we think there's team silos. So folks in marketing optimizing for their team. I'm a channel team, I'm an email team, I'm product marketing. People are optimizing for their team versus marketing-wide outcomes. We notice there's data silos, so it's hard to measure because data is in different systems. We also notice there's like process silos. So there's both knowledge and process happens in a number of different disparate systems. Often knowledge is held within your head as a marketer or in your email inbox. And so there's a lack of consistent process or even visible process in most marketing teams. And then we also notice there's campaign myopia. Again, people focus on just his or her campaign versus how do I plan a really integrated marketing campaign. And so for us, marketing orchestration is a transformational shift. We think that a well-orchestrated marketing team can overcome these challenges. And there's 5 tenets of marketing transformation that we believe tie to this orchestration theme. And so I'm going to walk you through these 5 one by one. So let's start with the first one, which is teams. So team orchestration, at very simplistic, the simplistic answer here is we need visibility and control across kind of the resources within marketing. And what are the resources? They're the people. So what are people working on? How much capacity do they have? What's their workload? And then budget. So the money that I use to spend within marketing. So orchestration requires visibility and control of people and budgets to help make sure teams work better together. Content is the next one. This is our bread and butter, and we believe is the heart of all marketing because content is the connective tissue of all marketing, right? So we need effective process that can help govern the entire content operations or the content life cycle. So that's number 2. 3 is channels. So having all your channel teams kind of work together to coordinate. And it could be as simple as making sure everyone's working on coordinated campaigns. Could be as simple as making sure everyone's working in the same tool, having same metrics across all your different marketing channels. Integration, so making sure you're orchestrating the technology. I think as key marketers have bought way too much technology over the years. And now we need to make sure that not only do they connect with each other, but we need to use interoperability as kind of a North Star to ensure we get the right ROI from our existing investments. And then finally, data. We need a single source of truth for campaigns and content. Right now, it's spread way too thin across a myriad of technology platforms. And so what we really want is to see a unification across all of these different aspects of marketing. And so if you have your browser open, I'm curious to hear and see from all of you what areas of orchestration does your organization struggle with the most? Is it team? Is it content, integrations, data? So, if you can pick one or two, let's go with that. I'm going to fill it in for welcome, even though we think we're experts at this, we ourselves struggle. And while we're collecting this information, it seems like team is off to the lead, which probably it's not a race you really want to win. And I find that particularly interesting, but also damning for marketers, because remember, often up to half of a marketing team's budget is spent on people, whether it's internal people or agencies. We've seen up to 50% of a marketing team's budget spent on team. And so if your team is not effectively working, then that's a big problem, because half your spend is potentially inefficient. And if you can think about orchestration for your team and have them work better together, even a 5 or 10% or 20% improvement on how your teams work together can be material ROI for you as a marketing organization. So let's move on to the next slide. As I mentioned, we need all of this to work in harmony in order to get, not just more effective and better marketing execution, but also faster. I think we live in a world where we need to move, as fast as our customers are moving, and that means the old way of doing marketing is no longer going to work. And what we found on the left-hand side, you'll see, is a number of different marketing systems, so categories that you may be familiar with, are all trying to solve these problems, but individually. So CMP, Content Marketing Platform, that's a product that, NewsGrid, actually, that was our DNA before we became Welcome. CMP is solved for content and potentially channels, so content across channels. Then you have MRM software, so marketing resource management software, that only focuses on teams. You have work management or project management software that again focuses on teams or content. You have DAMs. A lot of marketers are buying separate DAMs, and that's for storage of content. And so I think the point here is marketers historically have tried to solve this orchestration problem by buying point solutions or a number of different solutions, which in and itself is very hard, because what we really want is one software to solve all of these problems, because otherwise you're just introducing silos into your technology stack. And so that's our vision at Welcome is, can we become the marketing orchestration system that ties together these 5 tenets and really unifies the best of the capabilities from all of those individual categories and tools that we showed you before. And listen, we're not oblivious to the fact that, one of the downfalls of platforms often are that they don't have the same capabilities, or they're not as feature rich, or they're not as good as buying individual point solutions. So this is a hard problem to solve, but we've been doing this for 10 plus years, which is why what we've, the approach we've taken is to really build a best-in-class product within CMP, to then build a best-in-class product within MRM, then build the best product within a DAM, so that each individual part of our orchestration stack can actually go toe-to-toe with any of these non-integrated solutions. And so that's our vision. I'm super excited to have Kristen here. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of enterprise marketers over the decade of doing Welcome. And I really believe that Kristen and the team she's put together are kind of at the forefront around thinking about the future of modern marketing. And I've heard words like orchestration being used within GE Healthcare's marketing team, even before we were talking about it as part of our product vision. And so they really get it. And I'm going to ask Kristen a few questions. But before that, maybe Kristen, you could just introduce yourself. How long have you been there, and maybe just a quick overview of your team. I think a lot of folks would want to know about your role and kind of team size.
Sure. Thanks, Jeff, and thanks for having me here today. So I lead GE Healthcare's corporate level brand and digital marketing team. So, we're a $17 billion med tech company. We have over 1,000 marketers, and my team leads our company's brand and messaging, the activation of that brand and messaging at the corporate level, and then all of the platforms and martech infrastructure that supports our large enterprise. So we work very closely with product marketers, regional marketers, everybody else to make sure that what we're doing at the central level can be used effectively by them. So marketing orchestration is a big piece of that.
Awesome. And so we have a number of questions, and we kind of split it up into the journey because orchestration isn't a point in time. It's a journey that you go on. And so we're kind of looking at before you started, during the journey, and the future. And so let's start with kind of the yesterday question, which is like, why are you doing this in the first place? What were some of the challenges or opportunities or trends that kind of pushed you and your team to rally around this mission, that we've listed above, which is kind of the GE Healthcare marketing charter?
Yeah, I mean, it's an area I'm just so passionate about, because I think, like many of your customers and certainly many of my peers in the industry, we're on this journey to drive better customer experience, but also better organizational efficiency. So, it's our job to improve the top line, that's customer experience and growth. But I think we have a huge opportunity to also improve our contribution to the bottom line. And we've faced into a number of challenges, and then I think also seen some opportunities and trends. So from a challenge perspective, we're just, I think today, not as effective as we could be. So we have these 1,000+ marketers working around the globe. And while that enables us to operate at scale and get much closer in market to our customer, we really saw that we have an opportunity to be better at how we operate. So, what do I mean by that? For example, we saw that teams might launch campaigns at the same time, and then they were outbidding each other for ads or running duplicative messages, and sometimes even delivering different brand experiences. And these are all good people doing good work, but kind of to your point about the silos, they didn't have an easy way of knowing what the other was doing. And this was creating challenges for us, because probably the worst of them is it overwhelms our customers. So they see this, they get confused, they don't engage, or worse, they unsubscribe or they get irritated with us. I think also, we're often reinventing the wheel. And that's wasting money and time for us that we could be investing elsewhere. We hurt our brand and our brand perception and our reputation when we are off message, when we are off brand. And, we also were running into compliance challenges. And I think in any industry, you've got to have content that's accurate and right and up to date. Yeah. Certainly in our industry, we're highly regulated. And so having non-compliant content out in the universe is actually a material risk to the business. And it was very hard to track the digital footprint of all of that content.
I love kind of how you broke it into two parts: the external facing benefits or opportunities, which is, ultimately delivering a better customer experience, and then the internal challenges and opportunities, which is kind of making the teams and how you work more effective. And I think, sometimes as marketing ops folks or even marketing leaders, we focus on one or the other, but orchestration can deliver on both kind of the external and internal benefits you showed. And to your point, when it comes to compliance, it's not negotiable. So if we go to the next question, like, where are you? It's a long journey. You have a lot of experience, obviously, doing this, both at GE Healthcare and previously. Kind of tell us about where you are today, and like, what have you seen and learned in this process?
Yeah, I personally have been in this space for quite a while. Previously at GE Power, which is another GE business that is deploying this type of system, and now at GE Healthcare. And I'd say it's a multi-year journey. And if I think about the trend that we want to capitalize on, it's building agility and speed into our execution. And so, we started a couple of years ago with NewsCred as a CMP, like you referenced, and that was really supporting our SEO and inbound strategy by building a more strategic and cohesive content hub. In the last 12 months, we've been working very closely with the NewsCred, now Welcome team, to look closely at how we can expand that success and break out this bigger vision of orchestration into different MVPs. So performed a lot of stakeholder engagement, project scoping to say, if our vision is to really start connecting the ecosystem, how do we break that out and execute? So today, Welcome supports, our content marketing engine. It enables campaign collaboration. So some of that pain I described of not having that visibility, we're now getting that visibility. And we're also facilitating, web asset requests and management of web assets. So 2021 is going to be about putting more of this into play, enabling full tracking and management of digital assets and publication to our DAM, as well as an integration with a sales enablement tool.
Great. Yeah. And I think if we go to the next slide, we actually have the orchestration, call it blueprint that we came up with together with your team. Do you want to just talk about the vision? Because as you said, today, you're already using us for end-to-end kind of content operations. You're using us for intake and web request management, for campaign planning. Where do you see this going long term? I think you kind of answered it, but anything else you want to add around kind of the role that Welcome will play in your organization as you evolve?
Yeah, and I love this graphic. And it does show Welcome at the center of this ecosystem. So our long-term vision for marketing orchestration is about creating a true digital sandbox for our marketers, so that they are going to one place versus many. I don't think you'll ever, and you mentioned this, there's certain technologies we will never give up. And I think that's going to largely sit in the bucket of the creative technologies, right? So you're editing a video, you're going to do that in Final Cut Pro. Yeah. But where this piece that you guys see on the screen operates is all of that collaboration on these programs, these campaigns, these assets. It's going to happen inside of Welcome. And then the way that these assets live, either through Marketo, Viva is our MLR, so that's all of our compliance. Widen is our DAM. All of the interplay where those assets may need to reside or flow through those technologies will now be orchestrated by Welcome at the center. And why I love this is I think it facilitates transparency, it facilitates ease of access to tools and information, and that's ultimately what's going to enable agility and speed for our team. So we're giving marketers what I think other functions have had, a CRM for sales or Oracle for HR and so forth. Now we will have something like that for them.
Love that. Yeah, I often refer to it as the operating system for marketing. All these other functions within a company have operating systems. Marketing has never had one. One thing I heard also from your marketers is in the past, they had to go into so many different systems to do their work or to make a request or get an asset created. And it was very confusing. So just simplifying it all down, hey, go into this one system where you can do the work, make the requests, collaborate with your peers, get visibility of your campaigns. I think it just makes the day-to-day life of the marketer easier and simpler. And that's what we all want in life. So we're excited and, to become the orchestration platform and essentially the work management platform for GE. Now, last question for you. This is a hard question for you to answer because what I'm asking you essentially is why are you so awesome? But I'll put it in a slightly more formal way, which is it's hard what you're doing, right? This sort of transformation, people talk about marketing transformation. They go and hire big consultants, and there's millions of dollars spent, but it's hard, and you have to really drive cultural change. What do you think has allowed you and your team to be successful? Are there any attributes, traits, things that you think have allowed you to push the envelope at a company as big as GE with thousands of marketers?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. So one is embrace the complexity. And you've even talked about this earlier, Shaf. I mean, it is complex what we're all trying to do here, but that's also what makes it fun. And it makes it rewarding because we're solving for something that needs to be solved for. So, the advice I always give others is like, be resilient, go deep, be curious, don't be afraid, because you really have to dig in and kind of embrace that complexity if you're going to manage it. And I also think, we've got to be able to anticipate the future and accommodate for it now. And by the way, I skipped answering a previous question, which is, what is Welcome's role as our partner? I think this piece here is where Welcome really, I look to you guys to be a really strong partner for, because we need help seeing around corners and looking into the future. And the reality of technology today is, we're, I don't know, I'm making this up, but 100x more advanced than we were 5 years ago in martech, and we're going to get even more advanced as we move forward. So, when you're building really big infrastructure today, you've got to have a multi-year vision, because you have to anticipate certain things. And so the analogy I love to give people is, if you think back to universities in the US, and they're these big, complex, multi-building places, and a lot of them were founded 100 years ago, and they were two buildings. There were two buildings on 60 acres of land. And so the people who established these universities purchased that much land because they knew that their vision way into the future was to grow. And I think we have to think about that as we build out our marketing orchestration. I also think, where we've been successful, and I really credit my team here, to get stakeholder buy-in, do it early and sustain it, because it's not just a one-off thing. When you're doing something so big as this, you've got to get everybody on board, and it can't just come from the top down. It really does have to come from the ground up. And getting them in early, showing some quick wins really helps, I think, get their buy-in, but also get their help checking your blind spots, because there's things that you're not going to see that they will. And so it becomes a real partnership. And the last thing I would say is just managing the transition curve. So like any big initiative where you're driving change, there's going to be highs and lows to that. And so managing that change with a strong vision, a really good change management plan, that's just going to set you up for success, because you have to know that there will be bumps in the road, but it's how you handle them and how you equip your teams to be resilient for them that I think is important.
Yep, all great advice, and I think you have a great team supporting you. Obviously, Tiago is a well-known product owner of the orchestration platform within GE Healthcare. He's actually spoken at some of our events before. I think having a single kind of product owner helps. The other thing around stakeholder buy-in, while everyone says, yes, of course I need stakeholder buy-in, I think you guys were very deliberate about that. And I remember, I think there's been dozens, if not hundreds, of interviews with the stakeholders to hear about their pains, as you said, check for blind spots, make them feel involved. So it's not just this thing that, hey, now you got to use this product. It's not just a top-down mandate, which, having that vision from the top, I think helps, but from the bottom up, really solving their individual pain points and focusing on users, I think has been helpful. So this is awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to jump to a quick sneak peek of the product, but if people have questions, you can certainly type them into the chat, or I think there's also a Q&A section of Zoom. I see we have 1 or 2 questions coming in. We will answer them at the end. Hopefully we'll have a couple minutes, but also, even if we can't get to answering your specific question, you have our commitment. We'll follow up and answer it by email, or I can put you in touch with Kristen. But Kristen, thank you so much. It's always great to hear from someone who's been through this journey. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so now I think we're gonna hand it over to Lauren, who's gonna actually show you the product. And this is all live, real product. It's not slides, not canned. So over to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Shaf. Hi, everyone. My name's Lauren. I am the head of our product growth team here at Welcome. So I'm very excited to show you a sneak peek into the orchestration platform. I'm actually going to take you through the Welcome instance, which is our real instance that our marketing team uses every single day. So the kind of scenario I'll walk you through is our small but mighty marketing team actually went through this huge rebrand of NewsCred to Welcome in only a matter of less than 12 weeks. And so we strongly believe that would have been doubled or tripled without the use of this platform. And I'll take you through why that is and a few of the examples here. So you'll notice I'm on the homepage, the dashboard here. The work that's been assigned to me is right here on this list. I can go to my team's work. I can also recently go through all the recently viewed campaigns, tasks, assets that I was in. You can see only about an hour ago was in this Welcome brand launch campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and actually click into this item that I recently viewed. And where it's taking you is through to our campaign that actually housed and managed our entire brand launch. So this is where obviously launching a brand and a new brand for a company requires a lot of orchestration, right? So everything from messaging, visual identity, doing market research, we needed this centralized workspace to make it easy to do all of that. You'll notice here in this campaign, I'm on the brief tab here. So this is where we actually put in the objective of this brand launch, everything from offers to campaigns. We do have brief templates. This has been written in, or we could actually embed a brief directly in here. But this makes it easy for everyone to collaborate across freelancers, creative agencies, copywriters, PR, and really use this to do all of that work. So brief on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side in this campaign, you'll notice we did have a campaign budget here, as well as right below budget is all of our taxonomy and labels that are associated with this specific campaign. So taxonomy and labels are extremely important. I'm sure everyone's aware, not only for the platform to slice and dice different views, but also to be able to answer very important questions like how much content am I creating for a specific persona? Is this region on track for this campaign? What's happening against content for this buyer stage? And then obviously labels and taxonomy become important for data gathering, integrations, downstream integrations that you may have in play. So that's over on the right-hand side. We also have this share experience for the Welcome brand launch campaign. Right now, this campaign is being shared with our whole company, but before the Welcome brand launch was announced, I think it was early or late summer, I actually wasn't shared this campaign. So we made sure it was very secure until we were ready to announce the name and the brand colors, all of that fun stuff. And then at the top here, everyone can track the status and the health of the campaign. So if I go ahead and click on this, it actually takes me to the tasks section of this campaign where all of the work is actually happening. So you'll notice here, these are all tasks, whether they're logistical tasks like Slack update to customer communication, it can all be managed. It's all housed within this campaign. In the overview tab, we also have a financial tab showing us how on track we are against the budget that I showed earlier. So this is, I'll come back to this campaign screen. I'm going to actually show you how this campaign, so Welcome brand launch. Obviously it's one campaign we're launching across our entire company, and it's nested under our entire H2 2020 marketing plan. And there's a lot of other sub campaigns and campaigns that are in play. So I'm going to show you all of that within our campaign spreadsheet view. And this gives you a sense of how the campaign's actually laddering up to our overarching larger marketing strategy. So this is think of this as your spreadsheet view. It has the power and the flexibility of and the ease of use of a spreadsheet, but it's tied to all of the execution. So if I wanted to change the status column, see what's on track, at risk, change dates directly in here, add labels to any of these. Anything that I do here, it actually does push that downstream. So adding a label here will push it directly to all of the campaigns and the assets, tasks associated with that. So really avoiding hours of project management work here. Another item I just want to show is that you can, not only can you decide, okay, so this welcome brand launch campaign is great. I might want to copy it and do another launch, or for myself in product, maybe I want to use this campaign and I want to do a product launch campaign and copy over all of the labels, tasks, events that are associated with this campaign. So what I just did was I went and copied an existing campaign that I found to be effective, and I'm making it very easy for me to actually repurpose that and use all of the assets, all the tasks, all the work briefs that were already previously created and copy over that template to repurpose and reuse. So that's within this spreadsheet view. I can also just come in here. Anthony might not want me to actually add a test campaign, but it does work as similar as a spreadsheet. So if I wanted to go ahead and add a campaign directly to here, it goes ahead, adds me as the campaign owner. It's not started. And I could add all of my campaigns, sub-campaigns, and tasks directly within this view. So spreadsheet view here, obviously a lot of us like to think in terms of spreadsheets. We also have a different visualization that I'm going to jump to within the calendar module here on the left-hand side. I am just going to show the timeline view today. We do have Kanban views, editorial calendar views, publishing views. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to show the timeline view, which is the similar view as you were looking at in the spreadsheet. Different visualization of how things are nested. So you'll see here, Welcome to Welcome is the webinar series that you guys are actually experiencing live right now. So welcome launch events happening today. It looks like actually we have a webinar on next week with Charlene Lee, best-selling author. So that's actually great. So this calendar gives everybody visibility, whether it's within the marketing team, across the entire org. You can come in here, run the filters that you need to run. So we talked about labels earlier. Any of the labels that you want to apply, you can save that view and then share your calendar. So I'm navigating to the upper right corner here. You can name your calendar and email this view out to anybody within the instance already, or you can just enter in an email and they'll get shared this dynamically updated calendar. So I actually use this calendar URL a lot. So it's the URL that's shared because I like to see if there's things that I'm going to help with in product, or maybe I just attend this webinar because I'm interested in hearing from Charlene Lee. So a lot more visibility and control. You don't have to update information in different locations. The same tool that you get all of your work done is the tool that gives that visibility for other stakeholders across the business. So while this is all great, looking at the H2 marketing plan and everything, all the work is proactively planned across our marketing team, I think we all know that that's not how it works. There's a lot of work that comes in that is not planned. So now I'm going to take you to our request module. And this is where you can manage that reactive work. So balancing that proactive planning in the views that I just shared with all of the requests coming in across the business. This is our request module. So our own marketing team was able to field requests from Ben's actually on our sales team, requesting sales kit, case studies, rebranding assets. This is all centralized in one place. And that means our marketing team gets these requests and they can actually triage, route, and execute a task directly from the request. Again, whether it's coming from sales or I actually request a ton from marketing myself. And so I use this tool to collaborate, see what's happening, is the task on track, and what assets I actually asked for get approved and uploaded directly into my request form. So the way it looks for a requester, I'm just going to navigate over to here. I'm still in the request module. You can set up a custom role. So some of our sellers just see this module on the left-hand side that I'm hovering over right now. They can come in here and request something from marketing. And the entire form here, what I'm about to show you is it is dynamic. So if a seller puts in a content format presentation, the next page is automatically updated with fields that are appropriate to that input. So I think a lot of us are familiar with the fact that you're used to using a lot of forms, like a long form where only, 20 to 50% of it might be relevant for your team or a different team. So now it makes it easy for anyone that needs to request something from marketing. It's an automatically updated form depending on the fields that they enter in. So you can imagine with all of this happening, there's planned work, there's reactive work and requests coming in. How do you make sure your team is not overloaded and you have the right capacity and the right bandwidth and the right balance across the team? So I'm going to now navigate over to our resources module. This is a module our CMO spends a lot of time in, right? So you already saw we have a lot of stuff happening across the marketing organization. How does he make sure that he's balancing the work, allocating the work to maximize output, and really just not overloading his team, especially during a pandemic, especially during a time when there's a lot going on. So this view allows him to see every single person on the marketing team. I'm not actually on the marketing team, but I helped with this webinar. So I was assigned work. I was over allocated the last 2 days. So if I didn't want to do this webinar today, our CMO can quickly drag and drop it to somebody else that might have more available hours and more bandwidth to take on the work. So it's very easy to see who's available, drag and drop it to somebody who might have more availability on their plate, or you can take the unallocated bucket here and actually just drag and drop it over to whoever might be available for the work that you need to assign out. So we just talked a lot about visibility, control, how to get that across the organization, how to manage resource capacity and bandwidth. Let's now go into one of these tasks that I worked on and look at where the execution really happens. So I just drilled into a task. So this is a real task that I worked on. This is nested under the campaign welcome launch event. And this is where all the work happens. So this is where you upload PDFs, emails, landing pages, infographic. We actually practiced with Kristen on an earlier call this week, all of the spotlight questions that we went through. We went through our welcome launch deck. And this is where we actually built and collaborated on the deck that we took everyone through. So directly in the same tool, where we were annotating, editing, I can come in here and compare. Like I noticed that when Anthony added another draft, I can compare a previous version that I practiced with Shaf and Kristen and see what edits were actually made to the deck based on the previous version that I practiced and looked through. So this is comparing the deck and showing me in the middle screen here all of the edits that were actually made. So he added our faces, very easy for me to get caught up and see what happened. All the versions that are uploaded here, it is integrated directly into our library, which I'll show you at the end of the demo. But like I said, this tool, whether it's uploading directly from OneDrive, using our text editor, all of that collaboration and making sure that, I know Kristen talked about brand compliance. We have a brand compliance checker so that no one's using the wrong colors now that we're purple. So all of that gets kind of housed here in the workflow and managed through the workflow on the right-hand side here. You'll notice it's on the last step for me to present, and I'll complete this after I'm done. And let me see. Oh yeah, I can go ahead and complete it now. So this workflow is now completed. So this actual task, we didn't do a lot of publishing from. So I'm going to switch to a task where we did publish to a bunch of different channels around our welcome launch campaign. So you'll notice on the publishing tab in the workflow, publishing to Facebook, bunch of different channels announcing our new brand. This is where our publishing connectors come into play. We also have a work management connector. So it's not in this task, but a lot of our customers use integrations like Jira integration, where directly in the task itself, you can actually have status updates synchronized between the two systems. So if I sent this to Jira in a second step, it would create a ticket in Jira and all of those Jira statuses will be shared with me and vice versa. So the collaboration across the two tools work seamlessly together, so you don't have to go into that tool to get your updates or have the Jira team come into here if they don't want to. So this is the publishing. I'm just going to actually, now that we're on publishing, I'm going to spend 1 second in our settings So for those that are more admins on the call, I'm going to go to connected apps here. And I just wanted to give you a quick sneak peek into our app marketplace. So this is where you can set up all of those publishing connectors and work management connectors. And really, this is just showing you that it's one click to integrate across various downstream applications and channels, whether it's Seismic, Showpad for your sales enablement effort. Another example is Binder, if you wanted to integrate with your own enterprise asset manager. And when final assets are done, you can push it into Binder. It really is as simple as connecting and logging into that, and then being able to do that directly through the workflow. So if you didn't want to connect to Binder, as I mentioned earlier, we do have our own library experience. I'm going to go to a folder here. So it's an integrated asset manager. So everything that gets done in the workflow and for the campaign gets pushed with the permissions to the library. And I actually spent a lot of time in this folder around brand illustrations that was shared to me once the brand launched. So everybody has a single source of truth into the new assets, whether it's logos, videos, product collateral. And not only that, but we can actually get a sense of how it's being used. So our marketing team comes in here, they can see, this is just a small example of webinar illustration getting reused, reused again in another task. If there's different versions, you can kind of see all of that history directly within the asset itself. And maintain, really allows us to get that visibility, maintain control across all the assets, and make sure that people are using the right assets at the right time. And last but not least, I'm going to jump back to the campaign that I started with. And the last part I wanted to show you was analytics within a campaign. So as you can imagine, all of this was done within, as I said earlier, less than 12 weeks. So understanding how the team was performing from an operational efficiency standpoint was critical as the marketing team was going through this. So how much content are we producing for each target audience? Are there actual workflows that are on track, off track? What are the blockers that are stopping my team from being efficient? These are all very common questions that we ask all the time to be able to get the brand launched in time. So that's on this operations tab here within the campaign. We also have a performance tab within the campaign itself, just understanding how that campaign is resonating across the audience. So this is within the actual campaign itself. I'm going to skip over analytics, but in our actual analytics module, you can see everything from page views, engagement rate, conversions of the content you're pushing out, all the way through to how is the content that you've pushed actually driving revenue, right? And pipeline for welcome. What leads are we seeing? What contacts are coming in? And it gives you that true ROI into what was created and what's showing in the Salesforce system. So this, hopefully this gives you a quick view into the life of our awesome marketing team. As I said, they're small but mighty, but got a lot of things done in a very short amount of time. And I thank you everyone for your attention today, and I'll pass it back over to you, Shaf.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously enormous surface area of the product, so trying to demo something in 15 or 20 minutes in a webinar is hard, but I thought you did a great job. And for those who are listening, some questions came in. There was one question just around like, what are the common platforms that Welcome integrates with? So as I mentioned, interoperability is like a huge focus area for us. And so the key integrations that we see are with downstream marketing tools. So think of Welcome as your upstream planning, collaboration, work management, intake form system. Once assets are created and work has been executed, we then integrate with a lot of downstream systems. So sales enablement platforms. Showpad is probably, one of our strategic partners, one of the most widely used within Seismic and HighSpot. All the web CMS platforms, whether it's an AEM or a Sitecore, that's a very common integration. Social, whether you're directly publishing to social or to SMMS platforms like Sprinkler, those are common. Jira is a common one. Jira is interesting because that's not necessarily something you would publish content to, but our work management module. So anytime you're in a workflow, we can actually, as Lauren showed you, go out through our work API to a system like a Jira. With compliance monitoring, that was another question. Not really sure if there's any specific ones, but a lot of our customers do use separate compliance tools, like Viva is one within healthcare that we're integrating with. And so anywhere where assets may travel is a common use case for an integration, or where if some work does have to happen outside of our system for a specific reason, like regulatory reasons, those are other common areas. And finally, on the analytics side, we integrate with marketing automation and CRM systems to get that lead and ROI data. We also publish assets to CRM. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. We do have an API that a lot of our customers use. We have a huge app marketplace as well with hundreds of potential integrations. So happy to take any other questions. I think there was a couple more. Is there product training available for customers? Yeah, a lot of training. In fact, there's all of our customers get named CSMs. There's an entire training program that you go through. We do persona-based training. And then we often will, do a train the trainers approach for the product owners as well. We have video-based training, webinars. There's a lot of support that we do because this is a big transformation. With that said, a lot of our focus is also making sure it's easy to use for an end user, so they're not dependent on a massive training regime. The training should be available, but as you saw in our product, delightful UI and UX is a big area of focus for us. We want it to be as simple as any of the other tools that are out in the market where you can just get started in one day. And so we that's one of our goals too. In fact, we're going to launch a trial version and a free version of our product if a couple of marketers or a small team wants to just get started. And so for those customers, usability is absolutely key. So one other question is there an integration to agency processes? I'm not sure necessarily what you mean by agency processes, but we certainly have a lot of our customers that have onboarded all of their agencies, often dozens. In the case of, I think Shell is one of our customers, have hundreds of agencies. And so getting agencies on board is a very common way to use the platform, both in the campaign kind of management module, but also in the work execution. So often workflow steps will have agencies that are doing certain parts of the work. And so you can treat your agency as almost part of your marketing team, but you can also give them different permissions. Lauren showed you a little bit about the permissioning. We have very sophisticated permissioning. So you can say, this agency can see this campaign, whereas another agency sees different campaigns. You can permission down to the asset level, down to the individual, task level. So there's a lot of flexibility to bring in external agencies. Partners is another stakeholder that we often see our customers are bringing in their partners. And, obviously if you're like an auto company and you're bringing in all your dealerships, you want to give them very limited access, but rich access. So there's a lot of flexibility in how that works as well. Happy to take if there's any other questions. I think I've answered all of the ones I've gotten so far. Very much appreciate everyone spending the time. So I'm going to wrap up with a couple slides here. Again, any last minute questions, we do have 2-3 minutes. Let us know. So these are all the primary kind of modules within our system, whether it's solving for intake, solving for your budgeting needs, all your planning, calendaring aspects of your marketing, collaboration, so doing the actual work, publishing and distributing any asset to downstream systems, and then the measurement, both operational and performance. We are super excited, as we go to market and see more and more customers standardize fully on our system. Our successful customers have 100% of their marketing team doing work in our system. You'll see most of our customers are very large enterprises, but we are seeing more and more agile kind of enterprises, mid-market companies use it as they're becoming, as they're growing fast, and their technology, they're pretty technically savvy customers as well. We've been a leader in Gartner's Magic Quadrant 3 years running for CMPs. We were in the Forrester Wave for the first time for MRM and called the one to watch. So we have a lot of kind of strong track record as NewsCred before we've changed our name to Welcome. And we hope to build on that. And we're excited to go on this journey with you. And if there's anything we can do to help answer any more specific questions, do any follow-up demos, always available. And happy to take any last-minute questions. I see there's one, which is, can you speak to planned or existing integrations with the Adobe suite? So we currently integrate with AEM, and that's probably the biggest part of the Adobe suite. And I guess Marketo, since Marketo has been bought by Adobe, we integrate with Marketo as well. I would say when you talk to vendors about integrations, the big question is not to ask, do you have an integration with X? Because it's very easy for anyone to say yes. I think the real question is, what is the specific use case you're looking to solve? As an example, even an integration with AEM could be a CMS integration, so pushing content to blog posts or articles or product pages on your AEM site, or it could be an integration with the AEM DAM, right? So I think asking kind of which use case you're looking for is going to be key there. With Marketo as an example, we can publish content to Marketo emails through snippets. We also have an integration with Marketo to pull lead and ROI information, which are two very different use cases. I would say Adobe is probably the most common downstream tech stack of our customers. And so we have a lot of integrations already available, more planned. Actually, Adobe Creative Suite is coming out soon as well, so you don't have to even go into any Adobe products if you're a creative marketer, and you'll be able to access your files directly in our system, so no need to download or upload. Hopefully that answers that question. I am looking to see if there's any left. If not, just wanted to thank everyone again for joining. Kristen, you've been a great ambassador, not just and a supporter of Welcome, but I think of marketing orchestration and marketing in general, and pushing it forward as a category. I know there's a lot of folks here who want intros and want to learn from you, so we'll make some of those connections. Lauren, thank you for the demo. And then for everyone, I know there's a lot going on in the world over the last few days, and a lot of distractions. So the fact that you gave us an hour of your time, we're humbled and privileged to share that with you. So thank you very much. And with that, I think we're going to wrap with 1 minute to go.